So what I've done is created a spreadsheet in Excel, and I'm going to use this to illustrate the story of the king who agreed to give the wise man a grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard and double it. And let's see what happens to that king's wealth and all the rice in the king's kingdom and everybody else's kingdom, as it turns out. So on this spreadsheet here, I have spaces here for each of the squares, and you'll see it goes down to 64 squares. Okay, the amount of rice, we start off here with 1, and then the number name, that's important. So I'm using a nested if statement there. A little bit of nerdiness, but nested if statement there. So we got a 1, which means this is a ones number. The weight in ounces, the weight in pounds, a number of boxes, 2-pound boxes of rice that one, in this case, 1 grain of rice would fill. So wouldn't fill it at all. So over here are my constants, things I use in these. This is using Wolfram Alpha. I got weight in ounces of a grain of white rice, and figured out what the weight would be in pounds. This is cubic inches, cubic feet. We're not going to use that. You may decide to when you fiddle around with the spreadsheet, but we're going to use this key number here, weight in ounces and weight in pounds, to get some calculations here. So for the second square, I'm taking the amount that was in the first square, which is 1 grain of rice, and multiply it by 2. Again, this here will give us a name. The weight in ounces, all I'm doing is I'm taking the weight here in ounces, this number here, and multiplying it by the number of grains of rice. Here, the weight in pounds, I'm taking, this is the weight of 1 grain of rice in pounds, multiply it by the number here, the number of grains of rice we have, and then 2 pounds boxes of rice. So taking the total weight of this and dividing it by 2. So for every 2-pound box of rice we have, that will equal 1 box. I'm sorry, for every 2 pounds of rice, that equals 1 box, 1 2-pound box of rice. And I picked that because I went down to my cabinet and said, oh, okay, this is standard size box of rice. Alrighty, so what we're going to do, I'm going to highlight this row here and use Excel's very cool feature here. I'm going to drag down, and we're just going to see what happens after the first 8 rows, the first 8 squares. First 8 squares, okay? So I'm going to release that. All right, that's not that bad. It's only 128 grains of rice. So we're in the hundreds. Not bad. Less than an ounce. Not even filling up a box. So far, you know, King's doing pretty darn good. But we've only completed 8 squares, or 1 row of the chessboard. There's 7 more rows, or significant amount of squares. So we're going to go down here and let's see what happens when the second row is completed, or we've got through 16 squares. All right, well, now we have 32,000, roughly 33,000 grains of rice. That's a lot of rice. Weight in ounces, again, we're in the thousands now. Didn't take us long to get out the hundreds. We're in the thousands. So that's 4.71 pounds. So we got a little bit more than 2 boxes of rice. That's not bad. I mean, you can go to the store and buy 2 boxes of rice. That's not going to set you back. But we've only got the second row done. King started getting a little nervous here. So we'll get to 24. End of the third row. Wow, big change. Over 8 million grains of rice. We're in the millions now. Significant, over 19,000 ounces, over 1,000 pounds. So we got 602 boxes, or 603 when you round it off. Okay, so now that's a lot of rice. It's a whole lot of rice. So we're going to scroll down a little so we can see some more. Let's see what happens when we get to the halfway point, when we get to 32 squares. So we just filled half the chessboard. Whoa. We're in the millions, and suddenly we're in the billions of grains of rice. and we've only got through half of the chessboard. And again, all we're doing is doubling. All we are doing is doubling. Now, keep in mind, this is what has to be placed on the 32nd square. He still has all of these others. So all of this adds up. And we're going to do that at the end. So we're in the billions. Billions with a B. Okay. So we're at almost 5 million ounces. So we have 308,000 pounds of rice. That's a lot. So if we look at this, and I'm going to change this and put the comma in, and that will make things a little easier for us to see. All right. 154,000 boxes of rice. Yeah, that could be a little troublesome. Okay, so let's map this out. We've gone through, that's half the board. Let's see what happens when we get all the way down to the bottom. 64. Wow. So now we get numbers that we didn't even know existed. Billions, 40 squares. Then we're going down here to trillions, quadrillions, which is the number set that comes after trillions, and then quintillions. Quintillions. And this, again, keep in mind, this is just how much rice has to go on the last square. Okay, so if we work this out here, and we just get the sum, and we just take the sum of this. Stretch this out a little more. Wow. I mean, but when you get, hey, 9 quintillions, 18 quintillions, hey, when you're talking quintillions, hey, what's the difference, right? Huge amount of rice. Huge amount of boxes, okay? Think about this. Total boxes it would take. So this is hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. What comes after trillions? Quadrillion. Over one quadrillion, over 1 quadrillion boxes. I don't think we've ever made that many boxes. So let's make this number come alive for us a little more. This is a huge number. So this is the total number. Let's take that number, and I've got this other sheet here, and I'm going to plug that number in here. Just the value, just that number. So that's the total amount of rice, total, all of it. Huge number. And let's say we had one person counting. Just one person was doing all the counting. That means in terms of time, and it only took 1 second to count 1 grain of rice, and they never stopped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they never stopped, never ate, never slept. I know it's unrealistic, but let's say that person, or even if you had a counting machine that ran that reliably. Okay, so the amount of minutes, this is hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. What comes after trillions? Quadrillions. Quadrillion minutes. So in terms of hours, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, 5 quadrillion hours. I don't think we see that many in our lifetime. In terms of days, 100, thousands, million, billion, 213 trillion days. That would be 500, over almost 600 billion years. And you're thinking, well, maybe we can do that. Let's try something here. Wolfram Alpha. Cool tool. Wait a minute. Scientists are estimating the Earth is 4.54 billion years. That's a little bit longer than what we have here. We're looking at 599, basically 560 billion years. That's not going to work. So, let's say we increase the number of counters. Let's say we had 100. Yeah, we're still billions of years. Maybe we're getting close to the lifespan of the Earth. Okay, because remember, Earth was 4.54. So we're getting close, but not quite there. 200? So we got 200 counting machines. Okay, then we could have done it in a lifetime at Earth. You know, we and with some time to spare, we're in pretty good shape. And if you take out that whole time period where dinosaurs were roaming around and things like that, yeah, we could do it. How can we get it down to a reasonable time? Well, let's go back to this. Population of the Earth. Okay, 6.79 billion. All right, so let's say we had that many counting machines. 6790. All right. Okay. Well, now we're in pretty good shape. 88 years, we can knock it out. All we have to do is get one counting machine for every human being on the planet. That means human beings that were just born 10 minutes ago and human beings who are 10 minutes from leaving the planet. Every human being needs to be a counting machine for 88 years, 24/7, 7 days a week, in order to count the amount of rice that the wise man would have got. So the wise man never collected all of his rice. I got a feeling that once he got up into the serious millions here, and he got over 100,000 boxes, King probably said, okay, you own the kingdom, let's call it a draw, and I'll go play chess. So the key thing to realize here is that when numbers start doubling, they grow. First they grow really slowly, but then they pick up. And once they really start picking up and you start doubling large numbers, it doesn't take you long to get from millions to billions to trillions to number names that you will never see in your life unless you're counting molecules or atoms or electrons in the whole universe. So you have something to look at here. So we're going to look at how this plays out later. This is kind of an exponent here and how it grows. But also we're going to look at how a lot of things in life, when you get pitched things, they're based on things doubling or multiplying and by a certain number. And you find really quickly that you get to the point where there aren't enough people on the Earth, or there isn't enough space on the Earth, or the Earth just couldn't hold that amount weight without things really going wrong. So people start talking about things doubling. Okay, if it doubles once, okay. If they're talking about something doubling 10, 12, 20 times, it's going to grow really fast. So keep that in mind. Okay, and that's it for our podcast today. This Excel sheet is going to be available. I'll put it up on the SkyDrive for Help Me Learn Math, and you'll be able to download it, play around with it, leave some comments on how you would change it or fix it up. Maybe you can do something even better. Alrighty, and share it with us so we can see what's going on. Alrighty, thank you.